Joe Budden is the worst podfather. His podcast has never been the same ever since Rory and Mal were fired.
Yeah, and it's fucked up because Cuba at some point, ladies like really wanted him to beat.
I remember when the chicks. Yeah. There was a time.
What movie was that?
Radio.
We're gonna get canceled.
Jokes, but come on, man. Pull up to your girl house to see Radio Cart. Radio in there beating your queen.
You might be thinking, as a Kendrick Lamar Glazer here, why are you coming for Joe? He supports Kendrick in the beef. I don't give a damn. If you really think I have that much smoke for Rory and Mal, based off the takes that they have with Drake versus Kendrick, oh, better believe I got that premium smoke for Joe Budden's because of the way he handled the firing of Rory and Mal. Imani has really good potential. Ish had good potential, but he's an OVO. Also have Ice, who just wants to chill and play video games. And then there's M4, who, shout out to M4. I know you don't drive a Honda Accord anymore.
But they don't know Melissa Ford drive a Honda Accord.
But you should leave this podcast because Joe Budden does not respect women, and you can tell by the way you're being treated.
Put your pussy up. That's have me dying. Mel?
First of all, whenever it has anything to do with people who have vaginas, why is my reaction the first one that we go to? A little sexist. It's a little sexist, okay? Because we can all have an opinion about the shit that we just heard and has nothing to do with having vaginas.
Said a total of 2 words and you're paid.
I'm gonna finish you on the balcony later.
Feminist angle. And you got a vagina.
What? Bro, what are you talking about?
This has nothing to do with having a vagina.
But you have one.
I did it too.
That nigga's tripping.
You're gonna get all the smoke today, sir. Let's do it. Ruin the best hip-hop podcast abruptly due to personal feelings on contracts and who was carrying the workload. And just start saying these accusations that Rory and Mal weren't working hard because they don't work the way that you work. Rory and Mal were on it, including Parks and his fucked up haircuts. He just abruptly shouted out issues with contracts and talking about how Rory wanted the YouTube money.
And then he said, well, I want to get paid from YouTube. And I said, no. He didn't understand why. My YouTube page, these are my people. I own it. It's mine. And the YouTube payouts, why would I ever do that? No, I'm still trying to figure this out. Get away from me.
Or how about the time even recently where he's talking about the Patreon money and how Rory wanted some of that?
40 grand that Rory mentions is his first month of Patreon pay. So imagine how I got to feel handing you this type of coin. And I know that you don't even want to do this. You don't want to promote it. I had to force you here. Like, no, business wasn't going to continue to run that way.
You would think years after the podcast is broken up, he wouldn't even be talking about Rory. Like, Joe has no right to just go out there and start being emotional and not giving Rory a real opportunity to talk things through. But again, he never had intentions to keep this podcast together. He decided to go on his podcast and start subbing Rory and Mal, and they started like, are you good?
Rory just changed the nickname game. I'm going to call him Cupcake or something. Pumpkin, something nice, pumpkin pie. Fruity pumpkin.
You good?
I'm good, man. Come on.
Yeah, I bet. I'm ruined in my life because of 400 fucking episodes. No, I'm not happy like y'all.
I almost feel like even that take from Rory is white privilege.
Oh my God.
And Rory, you could tell he was hurt in some of those episodes that were leading to the end of the Rory and Mal saga on the podcast. Even though Mal and Joe are very close, you could tell Mal from years ago.
He'll be fine.
I'm still amazed at Mal bagging the one chick. So 2 of them?
2 faces. You amazed that I bag a girl? Fuck is
No.
What the fuck are you?
He was done with Joe well before the laundry detergent was an issue.
You left as the guy that bought detergent and kept it in your room.
Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Let's talk about what you hiding. First thing you say is, if y'all try to start a podcast, I'm suing the pants off of y'all. Who are you, my nigga?
At that
like,
point,
who
that
did
didn't
you?
surprise me.
Who did you just turn into?
Blaming Rory and Mal when he was leading up to the demise of this podcast because he didn't want to share the Patreon money, which he kind of forced Rory and Mal to start doing.
Tell me what I should have done, Parks. What should I do? You'll never see my books. I'm consistent in that.
We're not meeting the terms for Rory and Mal in the first place, so it's like, why would they want to work with you on the Patreon? Give them their money. Show them accounting.
I don't know what accountant makes a $400,000 mistake.
So,
but okay, nobody's perfect. So I'm putting that out there. People think that we work for Joe and we're employees and we get a salary. That's not what it was. We have a percentage-based contract.
I don't know how dumb you think I am, but accounting is not some shit you send in a 5-line item in the body of an email.
Right.
Just want to make that clear.
Right.
And when I asked for accounting, I didn't think asking for what's in your contract is such a fucking crazy thing to ask somebody, your friend or not.
Be respectful to your partners, because at one point they were your business partners. We were family, all that dumb shit. How could anybody that's close to Joe look at him realistically and say, that's my homie, he really has my back? For everything he's did, who gives a fuck about what Joe Budden thinks at this point, because he has proven that he is just a snake and he will do anything that he feels necessary without doing proper communication with the business partners that he built that podcast with. If you're a fan of the old JBP, and literally you can just watch clips of Rory, Mal, Joe, and Parks, you will just love those episodes. Even if they're just clips, you'll just shoot the shit, laugh. But again, that podcast will never be the same because Joe Budden decided to end it abruptly. He treats his friends and co-hosts like they're disposable, which might be the biggest issue for Joe Budden. With Joe Budden, you never know on one day he's gonna feel moody because Ish is not really giving it on the takes. And Joe knows how to kind of pick at Ish or Ice or anybody for that matter and knows their sore spots. So if, they don't respond the way he wants, then he starts throwing a tantrum. And it's just really disrespectful, not only to the co-host, but to the fans. When Rory and Mal abruptly were put on pause, that's when things just started turning.
Listen, I ain't want to be here. They all know I don't do podcasts.
Joe kept going on there speaking for Rory and Mal. They weren't even there. He didn't even Zoom call them. When the pandemic was going on, they were doing Zoom podcasts, which were actually kind of funny.
My God, no.
I was having a very unbecoming debate with somebody over the weekend, since we're on the gays. Did Sam Smith, is he like the biggest letdown in gay history?
There was no excuse for Joe to leave Rory and Mal out of the equation, at least for the fans to understand where did they go, what's going on. At the end of the day, this podcast was so popular at one point because of the authenticity of the friendships and the loyalty, the love, the bond that we had between friends. That's the problem. Parks was one of my favorite guys, but I think he handled the situation really bad. And for you to just turn on them without letting them know, hey, heads up, I'm going to go to Joe about this, that is so fucked up.
They expressed it to us.
It's not my place to say, even though they said
my place to say.
No, even though they said their place about
it to the guys.
Yeah,
guys, Savon,
like
Alex,
these people,
Parks.
Everyone looks
Parks,
like they're
Parks.
And again, that's why you two, even though you're the last members of that prime era, they'll never be the same. You can try to do it with Queen's Flip, but that dude is worse than Joe Budden. Because when Queen's Flip joined, at first I really liked him, but goddamn, after like 4 or 5 episodes, it's like, okay, bro, you're.
Yes! He's on your ass!
Joe likes to try to act like he loves his friends and, no, come on, we support each other, we family, cousin, all that dumb shit. Bottom line, Joe Budden has exposed himself for being a snake, being fake and cold with his friends and co-hosts. And even though he is an amazing businessman,
I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. Handle my business, damn.
it's time he should just end the podcast because he's exposed for who he really is. He's not a loyal friend. He's not a good person to his friends. So if that was the whole premise of your podcast being so popular and being so amazing, why would you continue? Joe is emotionally unstable. He is too emotionally unstable to be a leader of a podcast. Even though he is a great businessman, like I've mentioned, he is great at what he does. He has a bag with Patreon, with YouTube, with Amazon at one point. I mean, he just has his hand in everything, and that's great. I get the idea of hustling and being, very independent. However, you have exposed yourself to being a snake, being too irrational with your friends and co-hosts. You just never learn to just turn it off. I have perfect examples with the current cast between Ish and Joe, where Joe out of nowhere brings up a girl that Joe and Ish were affiliated with, essentially, and it's like, okay.
Mr. Don, why you cursing and screaming?
Because you always do this. You have talked to my exes before. I didn't say I gave a fuck. I was pointing out that you did it. You were in your house with my ex-bitch of 9 years smoking hookah. So you sitting here lying. I didn't say I mind.
They're talking to his ex or whatever. It was, you said I would never do that, and he's proving to you you did do that. That was the point.
It makes you wonder, what was the point of that? Back in the old pod, when Rory used to have some little one-liners for Joe and snap back, it was a problem.
Hey boy, how did you meet Nas and do a whole album is a crazy question to Joe, but you sitting Indian style in a cardigan going, oh my God, tell me what being born in April was like. Like, what the fuck are you about?
Yes, Rory, you have finally explained the difference between you and I. I am a god.
It's really fucked up when you treat people like that. And I don't really appreciate it as a fan because outside of your co-hosts, the fans make the podcast. From the very beginning, you had essential people that helped you. But now at the end, you just look like an irrational, emotional person that disrespects his friends, disrespects the co-host, and you'll do anything to make yourself look like the victim, even if you look like the villain. And that's the thing. You have a victim complex, you have revealed the mask, and you really are the villain.
Damn!
So the next video I talk about, oh, best believe all my women out there who support me on this channel, you're gonna love it, Olivia Dope, because you deserve to be resurrected from the blackmail that you received from Joe. I got time. Bye.